Welcome back to the Full Court Press podcast, where we pick up 94 feet and talk hoops the right way. I'm Brian Joyner, joined by Ben. Are you ready to put some pressure on these topics today, Ben?
I'm ready to apply some pressure on these
Yeah, well, we
topics.
gotta apply these pressure. Yeah, we gotta apply some pressure.
Man, no, I finally got you. First time slipping up.
What, fourth time doing this or something? So,
Nah, yeah, you weren't practicing this week. I see. You're too busy putting up a great background. I need to
yeah,
need to
finally.
step my game up, figure something out.
I turned 30 and I figured I gotta take things a little serious.
He really wants this to be his next full-time job, so
Yeah,
one
yeah.
one thing at a time.
One, very small steps.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
you're a big Mavs fan, huh?
I would say so. I think I grew up there, never lived anywhere else. Dirk is probably my favorite player of all time, even though I'm one of the people that doesn't like to really get when people are like who's your favorite player of all time. I try not to go with like superstar players, but man,
Yeah,
Dirk's awesome.
yeah. I mean, he's definitely mine
Yeah,
all-time favorite as well. So can't blame you there.
yeah, and then my wife says it might be a little polarizing, but I had to put Kyrie up there. You know, but
He's our star player now. I
he's
mean,
awesome. Well,
we
good
missed
for
him
him.
this year,
But
but you know, well, sweet. I'm excited to get into it this week. We got a lot of good stuff to cover.
yeah, we do. Yeah, we're gonna do a little different. We're gonna kind of do like mini segments, I guess, in the first half of this show, and then after that, we'll get into a new segment that I'm trying out. Maybe I should have done a test run before I pitched this idea to Ben, but the idea is that we're gonna have AI do a rebuild of several different teams. We'll probably do division by division. Where we have time and kind of
Hmm.
things, and see what AI puts together, and then see if we agree or disagree. If we have any other any takes that we think it'll improve that team.
Yeah, we'll see if how well AI stacks up to Nico Harrison. Maybe it's we can see where the insight came from.
That's probably where he got it. Yeah,
Say, hey Siri, what should I do?
yeah, yeah, exactly. but uh, but let's start here. Let's start with a little bit of a playoff, not preview, but kind of recap of what's been going on. We can start. I think we'll start in the Western Conference. We'll start with the Thunder and the Lakers, which the Thunder take Game One, uh, pretty convincingly. Even though for me, I just they didn't have the best game. I don't think. Like you get
Yeah.
18 from Shea, you know, Jay Will's not playing,
Hmm.
so it's like 24 from Chet. That's good. But did you have any takeaways from this one?
Yeah, I mean, it was close. They say it was closer, the score, or than the score reflects. But I mean, it felt relatively comfortable. I watched a small portion of it, and it never really felt like there was much doubt that the Thunder were going
Yeah,
to win. I feel like they hadn't played for about a week, which maybe it was pretty close to that after sweeping the first round. So, I mean, probably just some rust on their end, and then, I mean, 108 points for them seems very, very low. But when the Lakers are only putting up 90, that they don't really have to score that much. So I'm really not overly concerned for them. I feel like it's probably going to be a pretty short series. It doesn't sound like Luka's on his way back anytime soon. He's supposed to be out 8 weeks now. They're saying.
no, they said so. I looked up this quote. It said when he first got the hamstring injury,
Right.
it was 8 weeks from
Yeah.
then. They're on
And
week
he's at.
5,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
he's
That's what
got
I was reading.
3 weeks on the doctor timetable.
Right.
Which I don't know what they're gonna do, if they're gonna push him or not, because I mean it is the playoffs, so like it's not regular season. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I think if they have another, I mean this was an 18-point game, but
Yeah.
close game, maybe they try to get him out there. But does it even benefit? They're seeing it with Austin Reeves right now, that like he comes back, has half decent games, I guess, in the last. I think he played two against Houston,
Houston. Yeah.
and then he comes out in this one and puts a stinker in 36 minutes. He has 8 points, 3 for 16, 0 for 5 from
Yeah.
three. I mean, it's
Right.
not good.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I think they were always planning to at least wait until Game 3 with
Yeah,
Luca.
yeah,
See, get him back home. Maybe he's ready for the home games, but they're kind of killing him with the scheduling this year. I don't know if you've seen. They're playing every other night, which
yeah.
I know the first couple rounds, usually it's like somebody plays every night just so that, TV and all that. But like you'd think at some point, like even up to, I think it's up to at least game five, there's no more than 1 day of rest in between, which,
Like, do you think that has something to do with the TV deals that they have? Amazon's got to do this stuff, and then
yeah,
NBC's got to do this.
I didn't research it, but
Yeah,
that's a good thought. I mean, obviously NBC Peacock has some, Amazon has some, ESPN has some, so surely it's related to that. But I mean, usually you see at least game five, it's like, all right, we've got, or between travel days, you've got some time in between, but it's really not helping some of these stars that are having to come out, except for Anthony Edwards, who
man,
we can transition into that series. But it's like
yeah,
he had a
let's
bone
do it.
bruise in his knee, and he comes back in a week.
Yeah, it's impressive. And man, that injury when he did it, I was like, oh, well, he's out for the season. Like I
Yeah,
thought he tore his ACL. I thought like hyperextended knee. I thought there was no way he's gonna come the way he looked the way he did for sure.
yeah. I know you can spend time in, you know, underwater treadmills and all this stuff that they've gotten out. But I'm like 1 week for a bone bruise?
Yeah, that's
Like I know
impressive.
he's young. It must be just the resilience of his younger body or something, but
Yeah, I
just
mean,
seems like kind of crazy.
he only played he only played 25 minutes, which I say only, for that kind of level of player. You're gonna play more in the playoffs, and then 18 points, 8 for 13 from the field, which is pretty good. 2 for 3 from three. Um, his rebounds a little low. You could see he's still hurt. I think like
Yeah. Oh
he
yeah.
he gave up some horrible offensive rebounds to Champagny at the end of the game. I
Yeah.
mean, kind of put the Spurs back in the game. Those two putbacks. So um, I think you can see he's laboring out there, but still, man. I
Yeah.
mean, you have a guy like that on the floor, and it just changes the way you play. It has to.
But yeah, and it certainly motivated their team before the game won. So I think, obviously he's doing everything he can to get back, and it's probably the right call in that situation where it's nothing structural. It's just kind of pain management. I don't know a lot about bone bruises, but it sounds like it's just a lot of pain, and you just need time to let kind of that swelling go down and some of the pain to cease. But I mean, he put together the performance they needed, and honestly, my only issue with is like, I mean, Champagne's been shooting pretty well all year, upper 30s, probably close to 40 from three. He has a wide open look at the end of the game to win the game.
I thought it was in.
Great pump fake, sets himself up, easy shot. It should be like practice, and misses it, and that changes your whole series. Honestly,
Yeah,
obviously they're only one game in, but if you look back and they lose in seven or they lose in six or something, I mean that's such a huge momentum shift just to hit that one shot.
absolutely. I mean, I, the difference in this game is that the Spurs just couldn't get anything out of their stars. I mean, Wembanyama
Yeah.
has 11, 5 for 17 from shooting, 0 for 8 from three.
Mm-hmm.
De'Aaron Fox, 10 points.
It was
He
0 for
has
4 from three too, right?
Yeah, 0 for 4 from three, 5 for 14 from the whole field. Now Wembanyama, he has 15 rebounds and 12 blocks. 12. What do I say? 12 blocks.
Well, that's what they're saying.
Some of those were egregious goaltends. I mean,
Yeah.
like hit the glass, came off, he grabs it. Like I don't understand what the refs. I think he's starting to get to the point where the refs are like he does crazy things. He can do crazy things, so like they give him the benefit of the doubt when he's blocking shots,
Yeah,
um, which I don't particularly like. But hey,
I agree, but then
he's earned it.
you hear Gobert after the game mouthing off about it, and I'm like, okay, I agree. Some of those might have been goaltending, but
Yeah,
anytime Rudy complains about anything, I instantly take the other side. So
yeah, yeah. I
he
understand.
was like, "Man, I wish I got that treatment." And I'm like, "Well, too bad he's gonna be better than you."
Yeah, way better. Better now.
Yeah,
Um,
well, yeah, for sure.
um, yeah, they don't get very much across the board. I mean, everybody play a little pretty consistent. Like Dylan Harper has a good game, 18, and then Keldon Johnson has 11. Um, but nobody above 20 points, which is just not gonna do it. I mean, this whole game's kind of weird. Only one person scored above 20 points, and it was Julius Randle.
Hmm.
So it's like kind of crazy.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting series. I mean, I'm still pretty confident the Spurs can pull it off. It'll probably go six now, maybe seven, but Yeah, I mean, like you said, their stars didn't really play very well. Unfortunately, when your stars don't play well and your six man of the year also doesn't play well, then you're in a little bit of a pickle. But
Yeah,
maybe I just have some beef with Keldon Johnson still.
he has not had a good series. I mean,
No,
a good playoff run at all. He was minus 13 in last night's game, or
yeah,
2 nights ago, or whatever it was.
yeah, not
Um,
good. So the good news is the Spurs didn't play particularly well. So they turned their shooting around even a couple percentage points. I think they're going to keep the defensive pressure on Minnesota the rest of the series. Ant's not fully healthy, clearly. So if he can still perform the way he did in game one and maybe get a little healthier, it might be harder for them, but I also don't see them necessarily having the offensive firepower to, like, if they score 105 or 104 again, it's probably not going to be enough most of the rest of the series.
you're just not going to get 11 points from Wimby. I don't think.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's going to turn it on. He's going to figure it out. They had an interesting. We can move on after this, but they had an interesting situation where they were down by two or whatever at the end of the game, last minute,
Hmm.
and Rudy Gobert's out there on the floor, and I'm agreeing with the announcers, which is not often um, the case, but they're saying, why are you not intentionally fouling Rudy Gobert? Foul him, intentional foul, put him on the line, make him make free throws, and then you have more time to do whatever you want to. And they had a timeout at the end of the game, didn't use it.
Hmm.
I think it was just they may have lost that game just because Mitch Johnson is just kind of new to the playoff scene as well. So he's got to figure out how to manage timeouts, manage the game. Um, so I don't know. I think they had a chance and they had a lucky chance. They probably shouldn't have been as close as they were, and then
Hmm.
they kind of just blew it at the end.
That's true. And that's a good point. I mean, playoff experience, especially now, moving in the second round, becomes pretty important.
For
And
sure.
yeah, I'll be curious to see how they respond. About I do think they'll be all right moving forward. It just might go 6 or 7.
Yeah. Um, Going on to the Eastern Conference, you have the Sixers and the Knicks, who the Knicks
Oof.
lay the wood on the Sixers the first game. I mean, they just
Gosh.
absolutely well, Jalen Brunson absolutely torched them. It was
Yeah.
they had. I think it's where the Sixers are gonna struggle against the Knicks is they don't have any perimeter defense. I mean, they have. I guess they have VJ, which is cool.
Yeah.
He's good, but he's a rookie, and you're playing Jalen Brunson, who's a great playoff player. He's just
Yeah.
always stepped up in the playoffs. So I think it's just kind of a bad recipe for them.
It is. And I mean, obviously, I think they'll show up more than they did, but coming off of, it's always hard coming off of game seven, that level of, especially the back and forth game they were in. Like, that's just really high intensity. And then again, 2 days later to have to travel and play another game on the road. Like, that's not that it's a huge travel to go from, Boston to New York, but still, it's like, it's kind of a quick turnaround to get up again for a big series. So, I don't expect them to get blown out by 40 again necessarily, but it certainly is a tough matchup. And yeah, I think Embiid being out this
Big deal.
game might actually work in their favor a little bit. Like game seven, he was laboring and still able to produce, but I think their offense is a little bit more fluid without him on the floor. And I think it'll give him some good rest to be in a better spot for hopefully game three. So,
Yeah, he's like I compare him to Frosty the Snowman throughout the movie. He's just like
yeah.
starts off real good, and then he looks really good first couple games back, and as the series goes on, you just see him start to melt. He just melts and melts and melts, and then eventually he's like, "I'm out of here, guys. Like, too bad, so sad." And
Yeah.
then next winter he'll come back.
Yeah. He's like Humpty Dumpty part
Yeah,
two.
yeah, it's bad. But yeah, I mean that's kind of what I saw from him in particular in game one was just he just wasn't able to move. He wasn't able to get up and on the floor. He just like kind of slowed him down big time. Um,
Yeah, and I don't think they match up well with New York, unfortunately. I think kind of similar to Toronto, they've got some really shifty, speedy guards. Obviously, Barnes and Ingram and Barrett, they're a little bit faster too. Like Philly's just lacking a little bit of that. Outside of Maxi, who's going to have to really carry them this series, and you're going to have great performances from BJ and PG, and I,
I mean,
I don't know. It might
uh,
be a quick series.
yeah, I'm looking at this box score, and it's kind of crazy because you have like Brunson who's plus 27, Karl Anthony Downs plus 11. All the starters are pretty close to plus 20, and then you go
Hmm.
onto the bench and it has uh, Ariel Hukporti.
Hmm.
He's plus 22 in that game,
Yeah.
and Miles McBride who's plus 16. They didn't have a single player be in minus, so it's
Yeah.
like that's impressive. It's just
Yeah.
like
I
that.
mean, they were
They
up
just
quick, so
yeah.
big, so fast that I don't think Philly really had any pressure to put on them after that. So
And
they've,
then
yeah,
yeah. And then
they,
going on to the last game we had, or our last series going on, is the Cavaliers versus the Pistons, who played last
hmm
night. 111-101. Pistons take game one. I think the big story for me is Evan Mobley, 35 minutes, 14 points. Not impressive.
yeah, he's getting pushed around quite a bit by Duran on the defensive side, and it's another tough matchup for them. I think obviously the Pistons played pretty well overall. I'm surprised the Cavs were able to stick around. I watched pretty much all the first half and third quarter, and they stuck around a lot more than they really should have. The way that they were playing was really not good. I mean,
Yeah.
watching Harden play last night was painful just to see like he's not quick enough anymore. It's not that he's not trying. He puts his team in such bad spots with going for, kind of these cheap steals and leaving a guy open on the defensive end and then taking bad shots on the offensive end and not making them. Uh, Even his drives are a little bit less effective now because he's just a little bit slower than he used to be. He's not getting to the spot quick enough, throwing lobs that aren't there and throwing it out of bounds. So like it doesn't look like it's going to be a good situation for them. I do think they'll be able to win a couple games, but they really have to have high performances from Mitchell. I mean, Mobley's got to play way better than he did, like you said.
Yeah. I mean, Jared Allen's, they kind of took away Harden and Allen. That's kind of what they did. I mean, Allen had 2 points yesterday. He only shot the ball
Yeah,
4 times. So
he
like,
had foul trouble, which was part of the problem. I mean,
right.
Jalen Duren, I do not particularly care for. He just throws his body at you and gets you in foul trouble. Like it's effective, but it's not really fun basketball to watch, honestly.
Him and Isaiah Stewart, boy, had
Yeah,
like two bowling balls in there.
exactly.
Yeah, he has 11 points, which I'm not impressed with, I don't think, and then 12 rebounds, which is good, and seven offensive rebounds. So
Yeah,
he, they took it to the Cavs in the way the Cavs usually take it to other people, and that's
right.
the fact that they have size inside, and they usually take advantage of that. And this is a better matchup for Detroit than Magic were.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think they played to their strengths. Like you said, they bullied them in the paint, which is how they were effective all year. And then
Hmm.
Cade and a couple other guys will hit you from the outside as well. But yeah, they certainly played to their strengths and benefited from a lot of the foul trouble with the two bigs. And you know, it's not every day you see a big man like Duran do a Euro step into the paint and then throw his shoulder into you and get the foul call. But it's just a different day and age.
I didn't see that one, but that's crazy.
Yeah, it was rough. And he's like shrugging, like, "How's that not a foul?" And he got the call, but I'm like, "Dude, you're 7 foot 280 or whatever you are, running
Yeah,
into Mobley or Allen, who are 50 to 80 pounds lighter,
right,
lowering your
right,
shoulder. It's crazy."
right. That is crazy. It's being that big is just you shouldn't need to do stuff like that. But anyway,
Yeah,
now going into our next, I guess you could say, the next segment is kind of the news around the NBA. We'll start with the team we just mentioned, the Magic. They fire Mosley, which we had predicted no matter what, if they lost in the first round, they were probably going to fire him. He
yeah,
was with the team for way too long for not really getting out of the first round. Maybe I don't know if they ever got out of the first round.
or
With
that made the first round.
yeah,
You
I
know,
know they made it last year. I think they made it last year.
yeah,
So
yeah, they did.
they've been there. It's just I don't know. It's this team's offense is not good, and Mosley's a defensive coach, and their defense has been great. So it's
Hmm.
like I think they just want somebody, I guess, that's a little more balanced in what they're going to do.
Yeah, we've kind of, I think we expected it because, like you said, this has been kind of looming for the last couple of years, and they've kind of lingered in mediocrity too long. But I don't necessarily fault him completely. Like they've structured this team in a really funky way to where your offense is already kind of, what's the word, hamstrung by having Paolo and Franz and not a lot of shooters around you and not particularly effective big men either. So I feel like it was just kind of him taking the brunt of like they're going to roll into next year without any big changes other than coach and expect things to be different. And maybe they'll run some different offensive sets or something like that. There's definitely room for improvement, but I think people are starting to you hear the rumblings of like I don't know, maybe it's Paolo, maybe it's Franz. Like I don't think it was really Mosley's complete fault. It's just that's often the coach gets to go first rather than the players.
Yeah, I mean, coach is easier to replace than
Right.
it is to try to find uh, a return for either of those guys. Not that I think they wouldn't get a good return for those guys, but and I mean, they Paolo's great. He really had a great end to that playoff series. Like he was
Hmm.
really him and Cade were back and forth, 48 points I think in the last game. So like, that was it was great. Um, and then Franz, I don't know. I just didn't really see much from him. I don't know. Did he even play? Was he hurt?
Well, he got hurt in game 5, so he
Yeah.
missed the last couple. So
So,
not totally his fault either, but still, it's like, I mean,
but I mean,
it's just,
What's Mosley supposed to do in the last 2 3 years? He's had Paolo and Franz miss almost all of last season, kind of with
yeah.
their weird same injury to their oblique or whatever
Yeah, that was really weird.
in like the same week. And then you had Suggs have his ACL tear, and then he comes back and has injury-ridden season all last year and this year.
Hmm.
So, I know those are your three best players. I mean, at that
Right.
point, what are you supposed to do? Not that those guys now, Paolo and Franz should be your offense, but not that Suggs is going to help your offense. And then you get Bain in a great trade, I thought.
Yeah.
He gave up a lot, but Bane just comes here and can't shoot and turns into like I don't know some sort of villain arc that he's trying to go on where he's just throwing balls at people, knocking them down, pushing everybody. I don't know what got into him, but who knows? Like we said, we called it. We thought it was going to happen, and then it did. Even though I
Yeah.
thought maybe he saved it going to Game 7, but
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of the hope, I'm sure, for him was like, even if I lose, like, look how much we took them and all this and that without our player. And
I'm not convinced they let him on the plane in Detroit.
really,
I don't know. They fired him like next day. They said,
it's true.
"See you later, buddy."
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's probably the worst place to get fired, too.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Um, some other news: Mavs hire Masai Ujiri, which Dallas obviously is my favorite team and yours. Initial thoughts on that? Did you watch the press conference?
I listened to it. I
Yeah,
didn't watch it, but got some sound bites from it. Honestly, I've thought highly of Ujiri for a while. I mean, he has crafted. He brought the Nuggets together, and then he brought the Raptors together to kind of get them where they are. So not all the credit is due to him, but definitely a successful career so far with what he's done. So I think off the bat, I'm encouraged by that. I mean, he's got a track record. It's not like Nico really had a track record previously.
no,
GM president, slightly different, but I'm anticipating good things from the hire. We still kind of see some of the fallout from who he's going to hire or not hire, who he's going to keep on at this point. So that'll probably dictate a lot more.
yeah. I'm interested to see if Kid comes back. I know Kid wanted that job. He came out. I think I saw
Hmm.
a report today that said he did really want it.
Yeah,
Talked to him, but they kind of shunned him right off the bat from what it seems like. They were just like, "Hey, we're not going to go with you. We want somebody who's been there, done that,
yeah,
and you're not it." Like it's just simple as
right.
that, you know. So I don't know if he gets a little hurt by that, and maybe he goes somewhere else. Just depends on who's calling at the end of the season. I think. Um, I'm optimistic about it. I think it's cool to see Dallas go in a new direction.
Hmm.
Even from Donnie Nelson, which I liked the Donnie Nelson administration stuff, but you get a guy who's ex scout who is
Hmm.
not afraid to really make huge moves. I mean, they've highlighted some of the big moves he's made. He traded Carmelo within 6 months of being in Denver,
Hmm.
gets a massive haul for him. He sneaks into the Dwight Howard saga, gets forget who, Aaron Aflalo for somebody. But anyway, he sneaks in there, gets a couple good guys, does the Kawhi trade, which is classic,
Hmm.
um, wins the championship there. Uh, I'm interested to see he and his track record for drafting is really good. I mean, Kenneth Fareed second or late first,
Yeah.
just to name one guy among like
No,
you're
there's a
calling Murray
couple.
Boyles, Scotty Barnes, you
Yeah, I was
know,
gonna say Barnes. You got DeRozan
yeah,
and Siakam. These are
yeah,
guys
Siakam,
he scouted all those and drafted them. So definitely a great track record on that front.
Norm Powell in the second round. He gets Norm Powell. Jakob Poeltl was a top 10 pick. Looked good for a while. Bad contract. It's okay.
Yeah.
Happens. I think the only I was reading through some of his draft picks. The only one that was like absolute bust, did not last in the NBA, was Bruno Caboclo, which
Mm.
he's playing
Yeah.
over in Brazil or something. So whatever. I mean, but in your whatever that is for since 2008 or nine when he took that job in Denver. Till
Hmm.
now, you only have one like notably like really bad draft pick.
Yeah,
Like
I'd say you're doing pretty good if that's the
I'll take
case.
that. I mean, I'll take that. Um, so I'm optimistic about that. I love his scouting background. I am curious if he's going to keep the same mantra that he had in Toronto, where he's just like,
What's that? F Brooklyn?
yeah, basically, yeah, but no, where he just wants size and athleticism, and
Hmm.
then you make it work, and it's like, I don't know that that works around what we need. Like,
Yeah, maybe not the strength of our team as it's currently set up, but I don't know. It at least seems promising. It's something feels like it's going in the right direction. We'll have to see, like you said, with what happens with Kid and kind of the front office staff, because some of that shakeup could be difficult for us. But I mean, they highlighted we need better medical staff. I think that's been a huge weakness for us the last few years.
they fired everybody, so
Yeah, which is a great start. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think it can be much worse on that front. Uh, so it sounds like he wants to make changes, but he wants to implement changes only if necessary, and he's identified some of those areas already and has taken action. So yeah, and I think it was good that they did it before the draft lottery so that everybody gets on the same page going into the draft.
Can you answer this? Why? And this is kind of off topic a little bit, but why was Dallas's staff responsible for diagnosing Austin Reeves' injury? Because
Uh,
this was a
that's
big point of contention was that Austin Reeves got evaluated by Dallas's staff and they
supposedly, yeah.
missed the injury, missed some foot injury or some
There
knee
was there was
something,
rumor that they X-rayed or whatever the
the wrong
wrong
leg.
leg, which is like,
What?
all
Why were they
right.
responsible?
I think it's just that you have the equipment at your facility, and so you have to administer it when you're the facility owner or something like that. I'm sure the Lakers probably had a team doctor with them, I would assume,
Why
but
wouldn't Austin Reeves say, "Hey, buddy,
yeah, yeah.
actually, it's this other leg." Like,
I think
what?
that's just a rumor that turned out to be false. Like they actually did it correctly, but I mean that's just one example of like I mean
Yeah, right.
when you've got guys with countless Gaffords in the locker room every single game, Luca's conditioning is a question,
Derek
Lively's
Lively's had
foot,
7 surgeries on his foot in 3 years. Like,
right? So it's like clearly there's something up, and obviously you read a lot about what Luca was talking about with the medical staff being changed from who he liked, and it's like it almost felt like they did that out of spite just to try and shake it up so that he had to abide by what they wanted, and that kind of drew him, went him the wrong way on
I
that.
mean,
So
it was all, and we're getting a little off topic here, but it was all because Nico couldn't not have control. It was the whole thing. Like Casey Smith, who was widely regarded as one of the best medical doctors in the NBA,
it still is.
He goes to the Knicks and wins whatever that award is. That you know, medical doctor of the year. What do you want to call it?
Hmm.
And then he gives pushback to Nico about things about maybe Luca playing. I don't know. There's no reports on what they had pushback about, but just know that they had some tension, and he fires him. He's like, "Get out of here! I'm gonna push AD to get back in. I'm gonna push whatever these Luca to come back. All this different stuff." And so it just goes back to that was bad hire. But anyway, back to
Yeah.
Ujiri. I'm excited about it. I think he's got a, like you said, proven track record. Awesome. You don't have to worry about is a team going to let you interview him? Is there, are they not? Like
Hmm.
what, whatever. And he's going to come in. I'm curious to see if he keeps Daniel Ricciardi, and are they going to keep Michael Finley? Are they going to keep
Hmm.
Kidd? What are they going to do? He already mentioned that he's going to. There is going to be some change because in the press conference he was like, yeah, coming in as a new GM or whatever, governor, whatever you want to call him, like I have my people that I want to hire. So it's like,
Hmm.
all right, so we're gonna see what kind of changes happen here.
Yeah. Last thing I'll mention too is he calls him Jason Kidd. He doesn't call him
Coach
Jason or
Kid
Mr.
or
Kidd or Coach.
yeah,
He calls him by his full name, which I think
I,
is kind of like,
he's the boss.
ooh, he is the boss.
He's the
And
boss.
I mean, Jason Kidd was the coach in Brooklyn when he was caught courtside yelling "F Brooklyn."
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know. I doubt there's anything really there, but just kind of a funny story.
Now I have to. I'm not privy on African culture, but he wore a bracelet on that media day or whenever he did his interview
Hmm.
that had his own name on it. Big. It said Masai. And I'm kind of curious on maybe that's something, or maybe somebody in the comments can let me know. Like maybe that's like it was very clearly like African influenced. It had the
Hmm.
colors, the bright colors, and the flags and stuff like that. But I don't know why you would have your own name, and it's not Ujiri like his last name. It was Masai.
Right.
So I thought that was
Hmm.
kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
this
I
is
don't
something
know.
that sparked my attention. I was like, that's kind of weird that you would have your own name on a bracelet. Big. It was like
Hmm.
I don't know how to show it, but like this big.
Yeah, it might
I
be
was like,
something cultural
it
or
should be like this.
familial that we don't know. I'd be curious to learn.
Yeah. So if anybody knows, we'd love to hear it. But last news was Jalen Brown gets fined 50K, which
Not
is like
even.
wild for
Can you imagine if we're just doing our show and we get fined for just doing our own private Twitch
yeah
show? That's
yeah.
crazy, man.
If I got fined 50K, I'd have to leave this house. I'd have to go and live on the street for a while.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So he gets fined 50K, which I guess is just like, oh, let me just go get it under the mattress.
Yeah.
And because he's on Twitch right after the day of the game, I think he got home,
Yeah.
got on Twitch, was like, "This is garbage." He goes and talks about how if the refs can, this was a quote from him: "If you're going to call push-offs on, call that." He's talking about Paul George did a push-off on him. He was
Hmm.
like, "Same move, same refs, and it's nothing. It's a play on, right?" But if it was him, he would get a call. Now, does he have a point? Yes, because he got 10 offensive foul calls on him in the first round, double what the next place was.
That's true. However, I watched all of that game, and there were several that I thought were offensive fouls that didn't get called. That
Really?
called blocking. Yeah, I mean the one where after the play he runs into Embiid or Embiid fouls him, they review it for a flagger and all that. He barrels through PG before that. Clearly a charge. They call a blocking foul, and then he gets the flagrant after that as well. But I'm like, I understand that he gets a lot of offensive calls. Clearly, the data supports it, but like maybe you shouldn't play that way then. Maybe you shouldn't barrel into people and expect it to not be called because like your go-to move is that.
Yeah,
Maybe you
it's the
should change the way you
shoulder.
play.
It's the shoulder in kind of fadeaway mid that he
Yeah,
does.
right. Which I always hated playing against guys that do that because I mean, it's obviously it's effective creating that space for your shot, but it's like I got to not only do I got to take the contact, I can't give any contact, and now I got to try and still block you or go straight up, and it's like it's impossible.
I'm not gonna lie. If a guy did that to me a couple times, like he really hit me a couple times, I'm smacking his arm hard.
Yeah.
Like when he goes does his step back, when he goes to pull that jumper, I'm gonna swipe down, going for the ball, but
Yeah.
I'm taking a piece of his arm with me, and
Yeah.
and see if he does it a couple more times. That'd be nice. But
Yeah. For sure.
nonetheless, he probably he definitely knew what he was doing. He earned it. He's gonna pay that fine. Um,
Yeah.
and any other thoughts on that one?
He just I don't know. I think he's a very intelligent person. I think he knows what he's talking about pretty much all the time. This was really dumb. Like don't get on your obviously that whole thing is just really stupid, but also like why are we complaining about the refs? I don't understand
Well,
why players continue to do this.
I will say this to his defense. He gets on his own Twitch platform
Yeah,
and he goes and trashes the refs, and he gets fined 50K for it. When Draymond can go on his podcast and absolutely obliterate everybody in the league, and
yeah,
nobody ever touches him. And Kyrie does kind of the same thing. He does it not as much anymore, but he's done it in the past where he's gone on his Twitch accounts and he talks about things he doesn't like. He doesn't
yeah,
get any repercussion. I think that if Jaylen Brown would have just waited like 2 days, I think no problem. Like, well,
yeah,
it would have been news, but like probably no fine, probably nothing like that. But
yeah, potentially.
he was hot, so he went on there and tore it up. But did you
Yeah,
hear he made a comment that said that this season is his favorite season that he's played?
yeah, that was the other part of the equation. Yeah, and now it's sparking a whole other drama of like,
Just just blasphemy. Like,
yeah,
what are
I
you talking
mean,
about?
Brad's,
You won a Finals MVP, and you won a Eastern Conference MVP,
hmm,
and a championship in one season, and that wasn't your favorite season? Mm,
yeah. I mean, there it seems like sources are saying, and it's Tracy McGrady and some of the inside Boston locker room. So who knows what's true and what's not, but that there's some deep-seated stuff with the organization and Jaylen Brown that we're not seeing
really?
publicly. But then you hear Brad Stevens come out today and is like, oh, I didn't know there was anything. Like my door's always open. We should, I'm happy to talk about it, but nothing's been brought up to me. So like,
I mean, what's he
who,
supposed to say?
right? Which it could be a great cover,
He's
but
like, well, yeah, that Jaylen Brown boy, he's a big problem.
yeah. But I think it's like I kind of alluded to last week when we talked about it, where it's like Jaylen Brown wants to be the guy so bad,
So bad.
and he's never going to be that in Boston. As long as Tatum is there and healthy, he's never going to be that guy. And yes, he carried them this regular season to the 2 seed. Incredible season. And that's probably why it was his favorite from that standpoint, because he felt like he was the guy. But it's very bad optically and, just factually to be like, yeah, my favorite season was when we got knocked out by a team we shouldn't have lost to after being up 3-1 and our best player was out all year. Like, that's terrible optics.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think he's just got to be smart enough to know, like, you can think that, and that's fine. Nobody's telling you you're wrong from that sense, but don't say it publicly. And I know Twitch it's kind of a private, like you shouldn't be. I don't think you should be able to be fined like that on your own private space. But I get integrity of the league stuff, blah blah blah. But
I mean,
I
what
don't know.
if somebody records a phone call of him saying that some ref did something that he didn't like? Like, is he gonna get fined for that? Like,
Right?
I don't like the precedent that sets.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now,
It's like if in a press conference, sure, but on
did
your
he
own
say
private
something in
time,
a press conference? He
no.
may
That
have.
was Mitchell.
Oh, was it Mitchell? Never mind then.
Yeah. Yeah. Mitchell's like, well, I guess I got a flop now.
He did make a comment about Joel Embiid and saying like, "Well, everybody does it, but boy, he's egregious." And like,
Yeah.
which I do agree. Joel Embiid he flops a lot for somebody who, if he falls down, he's gonna break something. So
Yeah, well, it could be because he's already broken something that
that's true.
he's flopping around because that's all that's left.
um, no, that's cool. So that's a lot of hot topic stuff. Stuff in the news. Um, we'll probably do this again. It's kind of fun to something always happening in the NBA. This is a drama league, man.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, it's just full of divas, and that's part of why we love it, right? We love
oh
to
yeah,
keep up with it, and I like seeing the personalities of people and learning more about them through who they are and off the court as well. So
for sure, for
keeps me
sure.
entertained.
So we'll transition here to this new segment where we had I enlisted Gemini AI to go ahead and be the GM of the Houston Rockets, team that just got eliminated by the
Yes.
Lakers because we figured that was probably the most other than maybe the Nuggets, but stunning first round loss and just how they came out and performed and the drama and stuff. So we chose them first to try to test this out. Um, the AI did a lot here, so that's cool. They kind of go through. I don't know. Do you want to share the screen on
Yeah.
this, or do
Let's
you
let's
want to?
share it. Let's
All
see
right,
it.
let's see.
while you're pulling it up, are you a Gemini? Is that your
No,
star sign or whatever? You
I'm a
just missed the cutoff?
I'm a Taurus.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. May
That's
5th.
that's why we're just slightly different. I'm a Gemini.
See, let me know when you can see that.
Yeah, it's up here.
Cool. So here we go. So we, gave this big long prompt. I'm not going to open that. That's a pain. And then,
It's like four times as long as you
yeah,
can see.
yeah, right. So they talk about current team, who their stars are. So Kevin Durant, they have Fred VanVleet coming back next year, which makes sense, and he's on a player option, which he's definitely going to take. Wings, we got Jabari Smith, Amen, Finney Smith, Tari Eason. Cool. And then you have Clint Capella and Steven Adams and Sengun, which they have him Sengun in the stars,
Yeah.
but
So they have 10 people on the roster for sure next year,
for sure.
currently.
Yep, yep. Some bad contracts, I think. The Dorian Finney-Smith one's not looking so good. 13.3 million.
Well, yeah, when you don't play him, it's
Yeah,
not, it's
doesn't
not
look
going to look
great.
good.
But anyway, we get into it. It broke down the strengths are defensive versatility and rebounding. I can totally agree with that. You agree with that? Weaknesses: floor spacing, half court creation. When KD's on the
Shooting.
floor, I think it's floor spacing and half court creation all the time.
Yeah.
KD on the
And
floor
shooting.
or not, and shooting. Yeah, shooting was a big one. Um, and they lack a secondary dynamic rim pressure guard, which I don't think rim pressure is what they need. They just need a ball handler.
Yeah, yeah. I would say more ball handling than putting pressure on the rim, but certainly helps if you have an attacking point guard like that.
For sure. Some drama within the team was KD's ankle stuff. Should he have played? Should he have not played? I don't
More
know.
more burner account
Well,
pop
yeah,
ups.
yeah, right. Um, and kind of what their goal is. The goal was to legitimate title contention, and then they kind of go into untouchables, which is Sengun. I think is not untouchable for me.
I would agree, and I think everything I was letting AI run with is kind of very seems very set that they have to move certain pieces that aren't Shangoon, which we can get into. But I was surprised by that as well.
They went ahead and did the draft, which they they noted that Philly has their pick this year,
Hmm.
first round wise. Second round, they have two picks, which they took Malik Thomas from Arkansas and Billy Richmond, who I believe is also from Arkansas.
Yeah.
Um, which I like. I mean, they say that they could probably trade up into the first round with these two picks,
Hmm.
but I don't know if any team is giving you a first round pick in this draft for two second round picks.
Probably not, unless it's just like the last couple
Unless
picks of the first round.
yeah, unless the Rockets are going to take on some salary.
Yeah, which they do have room for.
Right. Which they could do, but I don't see why any team would give them, like I said, anywhere near the first round for
Yeah.
53 and 39, which is like I don't know. But anyway, if they end up with Malik Thomas, I like him. I don't know if you're familiar with what he
Hmm.
with
Yeah,
him,
he's a
but
good 3 point shooter.
right, good 3 point shooter. Billy Richmond, super athlete. Um, good defenders, both of them. That kind of I like that fit. They need 3 point shooting desperately, so
Yeah.
um, I would take that. This is where AI can sometimes be a little bit misleading. They talked about a trade to Portland for Anthony Simons, which is not a thing because he plays
That's
for Chicago.
yeah, that's the problem with AI is they don't always input the most current data.
Yeah, right. And I don't believe Karis LeVert plays for Cleveland. So I went ahead and came up with a trade, and I think you did as well.
Hmm.
I'll go first. My trade is kind of dependent on how the Washington Wizards play their season out next year and the pick they get. If they end up getting a second pick in the draft, let's say, or maybe first, who knows, and they take Peterson,
Hmm.
they could find that Trey Young is expendable because Peterson may come in and just play great, which I think he will. I like Peterson a lot. So if they end up seeing that progression and they think like let's go Peterson and AD and these young guys and let's see what we can do. I could see a trade that is Trey Young to the Rockets for Jabari Smith, Fred VanVleet, and two firsts, which would be 27 and 29 from the Rockets.
Hmm.
I like for both teams really. Like Houston gets a you solve your point guard problem. You solve floor spacing. You get another star next to KD.
Hmm.
Sengun gets a great pick and roll point guard. You don't have to play Reed Shepard at all, which
Yeah,
is I think a positive.
that's probably
Um,
the best part of the deal.
yeah, right. And then for Washington, you get a 23-year-old on a new deal, Jabari Smith, who I mean he is going to be a good player. I like him a lot. I think him next to like Keyshawn George would be a good, you know, 3-4, and then have Anthony Davis at the five, even though he doesn't like it. But I guess you have Sarr you need to play too, so they can
Hmm.
figure that out. But I think you're in asset accumulation mode, so I think like that, and then you get a veteran point guard.
Yeah, yeah, I don't necessarily hate it. My question would be, is getting Trey Young over Fred Van that much of an upgrade to, what you're trying to do? You're trying to have more floor spacing, or more 3-point shooting. We know Trey's a volume 3-point shooter. He's not necessarily the most efficient shooter, and is slightly better on that front. Mid 30s, sometimes slightly better, but about mid 30s, I think career average, probably 35, 36. They're both older. Contract wise, Trey's going to be a lot more expensive to them than Van Vliet is. So I could see it working. Obviously, the salaries will match up, and they could get that deal done if they wanted to. But do you think that improves Houston a lot more than just bringing back Van Vliet and keeping some of the other pieces?
Well, so I was looking at some stats on stuff, and they said, this season, the half court offense is super important in the playoffs. I mean, it's just shown, and it went from during the season, regular season, it was 115 points per game,
Hmm.
and it dropped in the playoffs to 106, which is the biggest drop that has ever happened in the NBA history from
Yeah.
regular season to playoff. And so Houston sits at 24th in off half court offense. I think Trey Young immediately helps that. His passing, his pick and roll uh, proficiency, his 3-point shooting. It's all. I think he really helps that. And then they were 27th in turnovers, and
Hmm.
Trey Young is turnover prone, but his
Yeah.
assist to turnover rate is really good. I mean, he has a really good assist to turnover rate. So I think that they solve those two huge issues. Plus, you have the defense behind him to kind of make up for his lack of defense. Now, Sengun is not a good defender. I'm not going to say that. But
Yeah.
next year, you get Adams and you get. I mean, you had Capella, but I don't know why they didn't really play him that much. But whatever. And then you still have Tari Eason. Dodo's a good defender. Amen
Hmm.
Thompson is a generational defender.
Hmm.
I hope only gets better. KD is no slouch when he wants to. That the thing is KD's older now, and I don't think he wants to anymore. But that's a story from another time. Um, and then yeah, so that's kind of where I see that if they wanted to pull off a big move to like really lock down that point guard position, that would be the way to do it
Yeah, it's definitely one of the better point guards that you could grab
for sure.
offensively to solve some of those problems, and not a huge like step down defensively from Van Vliet to Trey. So I would probably take Van Vliet defensively over Trey pretty comfortably.
Yeah,
What you're getting on the other side of the ball, which is probably more important for them in kind of their logjam of an offense, I think that would be more efficient for them. So, having just moved Trey, the likelihood might not be high, but
right.
at the same time, we're just kind of speculatively thinking what's
Yeah,
their next step, because they kind of went from rebuild 2 years ago to kind of just skipping all that and saying, all right, we're bringing in KD, let's win now.
yeah,
And
for sure.
so who knows what their front office is thinking, because they can't really do any big free agent moves now that they've got KD and the salaries that they have, but they can make trades, and they do have a lot of assets, both in young players and first round picks.
Yeah, and they have expiring deals. Fleet is an expiring deal, I believe. He's going to opt into his player, whatever,
Yeah,
and then he's a free agent next year. Tari Eason is up for a contract extension.
yeah.
Don't know if he's gonna come back or I don't think he's a free agent this year, is he?
He's not, but he's up
Next
for
year.
an extension.
Yeah. So you can trade him off and make another team commit to him if you don't want to, which he didn't play that well in for me. I don't know if I
Second
would have.
half of the season, yeah, really.
Yeah, I don't think I'm giving him 20 million for sure. Like or plus, who knows what he would want.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say the first domino that has to fall is Amen is up for probably what $200 or $200 million
Yeah,
extension.
I don't know, man. Do you do it? Like, can you give somebody who's like has such a horrible weakness? That shooting is atrocious. It's like, I mean, you have to really put some incentives in there maybe and be like, if you don't shoot like above 30%, like you lose a certain amount. Like it's not guaranteed or whatever. Non-guarantees in there somewhere because that is, I mean, you lose series because of this guy.
Yeah, I forget the exact stat, but I read this today, which is alarming to me. I don't remember if it was for the whole season, the second half, or the playoffs. I think it was the second half of the season or something. But the percentage of shots he took at the rim, 70%.
Oh, that's
When he's,
crazy.
I think it was the second half because he averaged like 28 and 5 the last second half of the season, or since January, February or something. 70% of his points came at the rim.
That's
And I'm like,
terrible.
that's terrible. So if it's me, no, I'm not. I don't want him on my team. Or if I do, I don't want to pay that much for him at
Yeah,
the
I
very
just don't.
least.
I don't want to pay. I mean, he's such a generational. He's so young, and I believe that he can figure it out. But I mean, have you seen the Mike Miller video that he does a shooting tutorial, and he has
Hmm.
both twins there, and he's doing form shooting with them.
Really?
They could not hit a shot from the block, and they were just form shooting. And it's like, what were y'all doing for 18 years of your life that
Well, they're
you
so athletic and so gifted at getting to the rim that that's all
yeah.
that they had to do. I mean, surely there's so many athletes that are that way that instead of developing a shot, I mean, some people, I don't have a shot, some people just don't have it, but
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah, you should be working on that nonstop if that's your weakness.
For sure. For sure.
But
Did you have a trade?
I did. I actually have two. We'll start with the one I sent you. I played with one after, or just read some, but and it's more just because Giannis is kind of the hot button item this summer, so they would have to do a trade. They can't just sign him. I mean, he's on like a 55 million per year contract, so they're gonna have to give up something. Is kind of the end all be all to get a big name since they have KD now. One of Şengün or Van Vliet has to go for sure. No questions asked, especially if you're going to sign him in. I think that Şengün should go. Van Vliet could also be gone, but I don't think people are like the Bucks are not going to be as interested in an older point guard when they don't really, they want young talent picks, that sort of thing, since they're entering a rebuild, right? So I think for sure they could trade with the Rockets because they could take two or three first round picks from them, both 2027s or 2029. And if you're getting back a younger player like Şengün, for example, or maybe a men if they want to have him for whatever reason. But I think Şengün is probably more desirable for them to build around.
Yeah, for a team that needs a direction.
Right. So I probably would take Şengün if I were them. And then you take on some other salary just to help even it out with Giannis, and you know you're giving up your picks as well. But you could send like Dodo or some expiring deals, or something like that. You could make it work with Eason or some other guys too. But I think the point there is mostly that they would only have to give up the picks and Şengün and maybe a couple role players at best. So it depends how much Milwaukee wants, but
Right.
that's, just trying to make the trade work. I think that's something they could consider.
For sure. I think that would I mean, obviously if Houston gets Giannis. I mean, I think they're stoked. I mean, I know losing Şengün might be tough for them, but I think Şengün and Jokic showed this year that you you have to have a center that plays defense. I mean, you have
Yeah.
to be like you have to have something back there, and both those teams had nothing. Şengün does nothing on the defensive end at all, and then neither does Jokic really. But I think I think you add Giannis and you bring back, hopefully Steven Adams is back next year and Capella. That's I mean Steven Adams, Capella. I know they're older, but that's a good center rotation. I'd take that for cheap.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly improve your defense. Giannis is a much better defender than Şengün. He's the only issue I might have with it is that your shooting with Giannis doesn't really improve. Your floor spacing, not really too much different than Şengün, maybe a little bit, but it's comparable. So you're kind of relying solely on Giannis being a step up in star power with having a few less years to get there. But if you're really committed to, if the Rockets are saying, "Hey, we're all in this next year," you've got KD, you've got Giannis, you've still got Amen, you've got some other pieces, like assuming you'd still have Van Vliet. So that helps your point guard situation, getting Van Vliet back right there. So that could be a solution. Uh, it just depends if they want to kind of go into that just all star power type model, which we're kind of seeing in this playoffs isn't necessarily the most successful because you have to have the right role pieces around you.
Right now, that move does not help their shooting.
It certainly doesn't. Yeah.
So, but not like Şengün's giving them any shooting anyway. So, I think honestly, if you want to go through your next trade, you can. That move plus the free agency stuff that Gemini puts out, that could really
hmm
be nice. But do you want to go through your second one?
Yeah. Just real quick, and you tie in your free agents because I'm curious on that. But Donovan Mitchell is the other name that,
I saw a couple things about that. Yeah,
yeah, which obviously that would be a huge upgrade at point guard. You probably ship out Van Vliet as part of that deal to
yeah,
Cleveland. Cleveland takes on some expiring stuff for some picks because I mean, with the whole Harden trade, it's like they were kind of in this win now mode. But if they can't get it done with him, then Harden's going to retire in the next couple of years. So, and
yeah.
Cleveland's in a pretty bad financial situation
They are.
moving forward. So it's kind of a different strategy. It depends on what Cleveland wants to do as well. But I think Mitchell would be a huge upgrade for Houston. Obviously, floor spacing, floor general, 3-point shooting, getting people where they need to go. And you probably don't have to give up as much as you would for Giannis. Maybe a couple less picks or not Şengün, or you can kind of play around with it. But contractually, that would certainly help.
Yeah, for sure. I worry. The only thing about that is that I just think that Cleveland, I just don't see them getting rid of Mitchell. I think that he's the cornerstone piece. Him and Mobley, they're hoping Mobley has plays better, But like,
Yeah.
uh, I'd almost wonder if they would just ditch Harden after this season and be like, it just didn't work. We'll ship Harden now. But I don't know if Houston wants Harden back. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a thing. So I just don't know. I mean, if they can get Mitchell, I mean, that'd be great. Mitchell solves a lot of issues for them.
hmm
But that's an interesting one for sure. You have something to add to that?
Well, just we probably have to see how obviously these playoffs wrap up. That'll
Yeah.
certainly impact what Cleveland does. But
Oh, for sure. If they win the
I,
championship, I don't think they're doing
oh
anything.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But I would be surprised. I'm kind of not thinking they're going to win the championship
I don't think
just
so.
based on what I'm seeing. So
All right.
I think Mitchell or Harden are probably gone next year. One of them's probably gone. And which one benefits Houston more? Probably Mitchell. But
Yeah.
it's
Well, for sure.
probably more of a long shot anyways, but it's just something I was throwing around. I'm curious what sort of role players or other people are popping up for you.
Yeah, so some free agents that they suggest. Obviously, the AI suggests bringing back Tari Eason on a 4 year,
hmm
$72 million deal, which is 18 ish
Yeah.
each year, which I'm fine with that. Under 20, he's still young, can
hmm
grow. Hopefully, he gets to be a better shooter. His defense is good, so I'm in on that. These next two, if they could pull it off, that'd be great. Kobe White on a 3 year, 54 million, which is 18 million each year.
Okay.
Um, that requires a sign and trade. So I don't know who they're giving up. Maybe they trade Eason for Kobe White. But Kobe White played really well for Charlotte in the playoffs. So I mean in the play-in. So not the playoffs. So not sure if they're willing to give him up, but I like that fit. And the second one, this is why I said maybe the Giannis trade might work for them if they give up Şengün, is that Robert Williams, who's an unrestricted free agent, a 2-year, $18 million deal, and that slips into their MLE mid-level exception.
Hmm.
Um, so if you could, he had a great playoff. Now he's hurt a lot, so
Hmm.
that sucks. But if you're looking at just the playoff series he had with Portland, I'm taking a chance on that. That's
Oh
pretty
yeah, I
good.
mean his per game numbers are solid, and it's just making sure that he's on the floor, which you just don't play back to backs all year, and kind of limit his minutes. But in his minutes, he's effective.
Yeah, so I like those three moves if they were to do it. Now, again, I said this: Kobe White, unrestricted free agent. This is for the
Hmm.
contract that he's given. So maybe they find a way to give him less. I don't see him getting less than 18 million from somebody.
Right.
Uh, maybe Dallas will do it. Who knows? But that's another video for another day. Um, but yeah, I like those three additions, and then to retain Tari. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, I think the consensus from the AI model is basically saying don't do too much this offseason. Like if you're gonna do a trade somehow, like let's get a star in and like win now.
Hmm.
But for the most part, everything that AI is saying is run it back with Van Vliet. Sign your guys that you want, give Amen the deal, give Eason the deal, maybe bring in a couple other role players as you can, but you
I
weren't that
saw.
far off, is
I,
what they were saying.
yeah, no, they're not far off. Another model showed signing Luke Kennard from because he's a
Yep.
free agent after this year. It's like a couple year, $14 million deal or something like that. I
Yeah.
like that, and they need
Sure.
shooting
It's
desperately. So
shooting. Yeah.
you get probably the best 3 point shooter in the league right now
Yeah. Yeah.
on your team, percentage wise, I should say.
Definitely.
Um, so yeah, so that's kind of where they rounded their team off, and so their team ended up being like Van Vliet, Reed Shepard, Amin Thompson, Kevin Durant, Alperen Sengun, and then you had Robert Williams, Tari Eason, Dodo, then Malik Thomas is the rookie. Um, and they had Anthony Simons, but like I said, I he didn't play for Portland, so I don't know what that trade would even look like if Chicago would even be interested in that. So, especially losing Jaden Ivey, I don't see them moving on from Simons.
Yeah, they've got a lot of guards, but they did get rid of some, so they might want them around. But I think at the end of the day, it just depends on what they want to prioritize for next year. Do they want to keep some of the core that, like, defensively is top notch, but you lack shooting, and then try and just plug in Van Vliet and see what happens? Or do they want to get rid of some of those pieces? Like, you could probably say Jabari's expendable, Eason to some level is expendable, uh, at least to where you can bring in more shooting for kind of losing some defense.
Yeah, I'm interested. I mean, is KD gonna play? That's kind of my thing. Is that this front office has to have like a very real conversation with him, and say like, do you want to be here? We need you as a primary scorer. Do you want to be that?
Yeah,
Because the way the team is formulated right now, they need him desperately to be 25 to whatever point scorer, uh, and he may just not want it. And so if you don't want it, then we'll ship him out. And maybe you look at the Bucks and you say, hey, we'll do Giannis for KD and some stuff, and maybe they jump on that, but I don't know if they would or not.
yeah. The hard part is Katie's getting up there in his age, so he's only got a couple years left at best, I would say. Um, I think the only defense I would have with Kevin Durant is he played all but 4 games this year. So he put his body on the line. He was out there doing what he needed to do. I think the problem was they didn't have a point guard. So I think the honest conversation that they're having is, hey, do you want this? And he's like, yeah, look at my body of work. I need a point guard. So you better bring someone in that can shoot the ball, distribute the ball, get to where I don't have to dribble the ball up the court, or you don't have to have numbnuts, Şengün, and Shepard throwing the ball all over the court. I need an actual point guard. If you can do that, yeah, I'm in next year. Let's go. But
Right.
it depends on what he thinks of Van Vliet, and if they need to grab someone else, if they want to trade someone else, then it's kind of up to him.
I would say they should trade Reed Shepard, but I don't know who takes him. Uh, the
Yeah,
way the way he looked, his defense was horrible. His shooting was okay. He's not a point guard, but he's 6'3", so he can't be a shooting guard. He doesn't have the on-ball creation of a guy like Peyton Pritchard, so like the same size. But no, I mean Peyton
yeah,
Pritchard's thicker.
yeah,
Um, Same type of player, kind of like kind of a
yeah,
tweener, not really a true point guard, but Peyton Pritchard can take care of the basketball and like makes good
yeah.
decisions and stuff like that. He doesn't look like a deer in headlights. That being said, Reed Shepard has not had a single point guard be able to like show him what the heck's going on, and
Right.
so I don't know. He just is in a bad spot, bad situation. I think for
Well, you see flashes of him. Like he has potential for sure, and I know they see that in him. He can be streaky as a shooter. He can be a good 3-point shooter. He just needs that time to develop and probably have some mentors and guards guiding him. Like you said, we'll get him in a better spot. They just were in such a pickle after Van Vliet went down. Of like, man, this kind of screwed up our whole offensive strategy. It feels like because they just nobody was ready to handle the ball. Everybody else kind of depends on being in their spot or getting put in their spot by a point guard. And yeah, that's probably where it fell apart to begin with, which is kind of what we were looking at in September.
yeah, yeah. When they needed to get a point guard, when the trade deadline's coming up, and everybody was saying they need somebody, and we thought maybe they'd come calling for Kyrie, but
Yeah, I mean, imagine they could have grabbed Kobe White just like Charlotte did. There's several guards. I mean, shoot, they could have grabbed Simons or someone else that in that time frame, but they decided not to. And yeah, they're a little bit strapped for what they could do at that point in time, but still, I think you can make those moves work if you really want to, and they just didn't want to.
right. But that kind of puts a bow on them. I think they have to address the bottom line is they have to address their point guard play and they have to address their shooting. Um, and then however they want to go about that, we'll see. But we kind of gave our opinions, and we'd love to hear what y'all's are. Especially Rockets fans. What do y'all want to
Yeah,
see from your team? I live in Houston, so I know a bunch of Rockets fans, and so they're a little disappointed in KD and how he handled everything, and they're not quite convinced that he was actually injured, but we'll see. Um, so yeah, please like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think about everything. If you have strong opinions, we love to hear them. We're gonna start doing
yeah,
a segment, I think, starting next week, where we'll take a comment that's given to us, and we'll do it every single week. As like a closing segment, where we'll take a comment that y'all put out there, and we'll discuss it live, and we'll talk about it, and we'll see if we like it or if we don't, and we'll
yeah.
be brutally honest, like we always are.
But it's got to be a good comment. It can't just be
Yeah,
some people just say Lakers.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Like
nice.
it can be.
I mean, we can talk about the Lakers.
Yeah, well, we have a plan. Well, we may do that soon enough, but especially maybe next week when they're bounced. But we'll see.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it was a great show, and as always, please, like I said, like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see y'all next week.